After adding my crush as a friend, I started sending him flirty texts every day to catch his attention. I can't fall asleep because I'm not sleeping with you. It's not life that's weighing me down, it's you don't keep your distance. I want zero distance with you, paper thin, kind. But then one day I overheard someone asking him, "How are you dealing with that clingy girl?" I told her to add Ethan got rid of her, Ethan, his cold, sharp togun roommate. I turned around just in time to see Ethan walking past me, expressionless. I smirked and kept texting. Touching gold or sliver is nothing. I'd rather touch a hot guy's chest. If one crush doesn't like me, I'll just move on to the next. Chapter 1. My crush sprained his ankle playing basketball. I made a special trip to the hospital, half to visit, half to surprise him. Before I could open the door, I heard laughter inside. Damn, that's harsh, or Ethan's tongue is so sharp, it's like he's dipped it in venom. No wonder she ended up crying. You actually gave her Ethan's number. Weren't you scared he'd kill you? Peeking through the half-open door, I saw Simon with his leg in a cast, looking smug. Ethan knows I too soft. It was his idea to play the old bait and switch. His roommate got excited. No way for real, Ethan. Is that true? That's when I noticed the other guy in the room wearing a black hoodie, head down, focused on his phone. At the question, he looked up lazily and just said, "Yeah, so do they still talk now?" Ethan didn't answer, but Simon rolled his eyes. Please, of course not. Ethan's not a simp. Why would he keep talking to some girl chasing me? Just then Ethan suddenly stood up and took a photo of Simon's cast. What are you doing? Counselor asked for an update. Simon didn't suspect a thing. Oh, he replied, then kept chatting with the others. The next second my phone buzzed twice in my pocket. I'm hurt, it aches, only my wifey ISS magic kiss can make it better. I opened the image, it was the photo. Ethan had just taken chapter 2. I added Simon 2 months ago. No, actually I should say it was worsened back then. I confessed to Simon he didn't exactly reject me, but he didn't accept me either, just vaguely said let's talk about it later. I thought that meant I had a chance. After adding him I started flirting hard, full-on seductive mode. He didn't hold back either, sending me shirtless of shots every couple of days like he was trying to set my heart on fire. We weren't in the same school, we never met during that time, but it never crossed my mind that he wasn't really Simon until a few days ago when my school hosted the city's college basketball league. I heard Simon's team would be playing too, signed up as a volunteer, super hyped to finally meet him. Didn't expect to hear he got injured today. When I didn't reply, Ethan kept blowing up my phone. Looks like I won't get to see my baby this time. How about we knee up once? My leg heals. Where'd you go? You mad at me? Reading those messages, my hands and feet turned cold. But soon I calmed down. Handsome is handsome. What does it matter who I'm texting? Yeah, I'm mad. Only way to fix it is if you send me ABS. Ethan seemed relieved. All right, I'll send you some tonight. Nope, I want them now. Ethan hesitated for a second, then stood up with a deadpan face. Where are you going, Ethan? Bathroom? A few minutes later, solid chiseled ABS appeared on my screen. The weather was chilly. You could even see goosebumps if you zoomed in. Happy now, Your Majesty. I'll allow it. A moment later, Ethan replied, next time I see you, I swear I'm going to ruin you. In the best way. Weekend came, and the league began. Even though Simon had to drop out due to his leg injury, I still had to show up in the freezing cold to help out as a volunteer. As soon as I arrived, I saw a bunch of girls in red vests, squealing excitedly at Ethan's here today too. Didn't they say he wasn't coming? Apparently someone got hurt and he stepped in last minute. Bless whoever got injured. Now we get to see the face of a god. I was still wondering who the source, and was when suddenly the stadium exploded into screams. Team A had entered the court. I looked up and of course, just my luck, locked eyes with the last guy in the lineup. The moment he saw me, Ethan's lazy gaze snapped into sharp focus. I quickly looked away, pretending not to recognize him. Only then did I realize Ethan was just as popular as Simon. The whole match turned into Ethan's personal highlight. Real, even his teammates were whispering from the sidelines. Dude, Ethan's playing like he's out for blood. None of us even got a moment to shine. Weren't you? The one who said he was too lazy for the stuff. Why is he playing like he's on steroids just then? Ethan made another flawless three-pointer after shooting. He instinctively glanced around. Like he was looking for someone. His teammates turned into Sherlock Holmes on the spot. Something's off, he's totally peacocking. You think he's into someone here? Please. Even if my dad remarried, Ethan still wouldn't be in a relationship. Right as he said that, the second quarter ended. A crowd rushed over to hand Ethan water. He didn't even glance at them, walking straight toward his teammates. No, toward me. He played dumb. You a volunteer? Yeah, I'm thirsty. Can you grab me a water before I could answer? One of his teammates eagerly held out a bottle. Ethan, I've got one right here. Ethan ignored him, eyes locked on me. waiting for my reply. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut. Then I heard the guy from before mutter under his breath, "Holy sh! *T, my dad might actually be getting remarried Chapter 3 as expected." Ethan was named MVP of the game when he got on stage to accept the award. I took a blurry photo of him, then I sent it to Ethan. "Me, is this guy from your school too? Crash, yeah, why me? No reason, he's just kinda hot, crush you into this type me. He's all right." Then I added, half joking, half serious, "Me, if I'd met him earlier, maybe you wouldn't be the one I chased." He didn't reply right away. I looked up and saw Ethan not too far away, staring off with a complicated expression, lips pressed into a line like he was deep in thought. Someone called out to him, and he seemed to snap out of it. He looked down and tapped on his phone a couple of times. At the same time, my phone buzzed twice. "Crash, it's not too late." I looked up again. Ethan was already staring right at me. Our eyes met, and it was like a current of electricity, zipped through the crowd. Straight between us this time. I didn't look away. I simply curved my lips into a small smile and typed back, "Unhurried me, not too late, but no need to chase, having you is enough." Chapter 4. A few days later, I went for an interview to become a French tutor. Funny thing, this job was actually recommended by Ethan. He said it was for a friend's kid, some teenage boy, polite and well-behaved. The pay was amazing, so naturally I took it seriously. The day of the interview, Ethan sent me a string of messages. "Crush, be safe on the road, no stress if you're late, if you get hungry during the lesson, just grab something to eat. Don't be shy, if you have any requests, tell them. They'll definitely agree." Each message got more and more absurd, like I was the one tutoring him. I was a little nervous on the way there, so I didn't overthink what he said. But that afternoon, when the real Ethan appeared in front of me, my brain glitched for a solid 3 seconds. He was wearing a gray casual set, hands in his pockets. "We need again. Little volunteer you, you're the parent ever considered." I might be the student me, who would have thought Ethan gave me a job rec to tutor himself. While he was in the kitchen, I messaged, "Crash me. The student you recommended is Ethan." Took a minute for him to reply, probably cutting fruit or something. "Crash, yummy. Why didn't you tell me in advance? Crash, didn't you say he's hot? Thought I'd surprise you, me, that sweet, ha. Not afraid I'll fall for someone else. Crush, I trust you won't, and if you ever do, it just means I didn't do enough, so I wouldn't blame you." I actually laughed out loud reading that. Right then, Ethan came back out with a tray, looking totally composed. You'd never guess this was the same guy who'd just been texting me seconds ago. I stood up and looked at him. "Sorry, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I might not be the right fit for this tutoring job." Ethan raised an eyebrow. I continued, "At first I thought I'd be teaching some teenage boy. I'm 19. That one-liner caught me completely off guard. Realizing what he meant, I chuckled. "That's not what I meant." He frowned slightly. "Then what did you mean? You're too hot. I'm worried. I won't be able to control myself. That's a reason why, wouldn't it be?" He looked at me, eyes intent. "What if I said I don't mind?" "But I do. You know I was chasing Simon." Right at the mention of that name, Ethan's lips barely tightened. "What's he got to do with this?" "I was going after him." I see. Suddenly Ethan leaned in close, so close, I could feel the warmth of his breath near my ear. He whispered, low and magnetic, "Then let's just not tell him." Deal. Chapter 5. Following Ethan's advice, I didn't tell anyone I was tutoring him in French. Not even the Ethan who pretended to be Simon online. Not for any grand reason. Mostly just out of curiosity. I wanted to see how this ridiculous role play would eventually end. But ever since that day, Ethan started messaging me way less. Instead, he began using a new account, registered under a fresh number, and suddenly we were chatting all the time. I figured he was trying to gradually phase out his fake identity and start approaching me as his real self. But I wasn't about to make things easy for him, so I kept chatting with Ethan as if I didn't know he was. Crash, sending him over the top, flirting nonsense like I was still head over heels for the Simon that day. I was giving Ethan a regular lesson while he worked on an assignment. I leaned back in my chair and sent a message to Crush. "What are you doing?" The moment I hit send, Ethan's phone buzzed twice on the table. I pointed it out. "You got a message, ignore it, it's not important." So I didn't push and kept messaging Crush, thinking about the world, the stars, and your big old packs. "Hot stuff. No appetite today. Maybe I need to see some ABS to fix that. I've seen the ABS and the chest. When do I get to see your other muscles?" With each message Cry sent, Ethan's phone started buzzing like crazy. I said casually, "Maybe you should check. That could be something urgent." He finally picked it up, glanced at the screen, and his expression turned weird. Then he put it down again, and the air in the room suddenly felt heavier. I faked concern. "Something wrong? Can I ask you something?" I raised an eyebrow, waiting. A moment passed before he finally said, "Why do you like him?" "Like who? You know who you mean, Simon." He didn't respond, like even hearing that name annoyed him. I chuckled 'cause he's hot. Obviously, be serious. I am being serious. It was true. I first noticed Simon because of his looks. He was a year above me in high school. I first saw him during the senior motivational assembly that kicked off my final year. He came back as an alum to give us some kind of pep talk. Back then I was young and hadn't seen many attractive people. The moment I saw him I was stunned, genuinely heart-thumped, kind of stunned, but that feeling was like tossing a pebble into the ocean, a small ripple, nothing more. What really connected us was a letter. That year my family went through a crisis, my dad gambled everything away, and my life kind of shattered. The academic pressure was suffocating, and I fell into a pretty dark place. I had no one to talk to. Somehow I thought of Simon, so I wrote him a letter, looked up an address online, and just sent it. I don't even remember what I wrote. Honestly, I didn't think he'd ever see it, but to my surprise, he did. And he wrote back during that hellish final year. It was those handwritten letters, whether he was encouraging me, answering my dumb questions, or just chatting idly that helped me stay afloat. Eventually, I worked up the courage to confess to him in person at his college. What I didn't expect was that the gentle, kind guy behind all those letters would reject me with a lie by giving me someone else's contact info to get rid of me, and Miley crash. I didn't want to tell Ethan all this. Instead, I asked any other questions. Do you think I'm hot? Of course, then when are you gonna lose control with me? His expression was dead serious, not even a hint of teasing. It hit me belatedly. Wait, is Ethan jealous of his own fake account? I couldn't help laughing. And how exactly do you plan to make me lose control? As I said it, I leaned forward and brushed a quick kiss against his lips like that. For a moment Ethan froze like a deer in headlights. Then he snapped out of it like something primal had awakened and lunged straight at me. Laughing, I pressed a finger against his chest. Remember who introduced me to this job? Ethan's eyes darkened. He grabbed my mischievous hand and kissed me hard. I didn't resist. He lifted me effortlessly onto the desk. Our lips tangled, rushed and greedy pens in my half-finished French test sheet. CLT heard to the floor, along with a notebook that had been propped up behind them. The front page flopped open, revealing a signature Ethan. His handwriting was wild and sharp, bold strokes full of force, just like him. Somehow it felt familiar before I could fully place it. Ethan whispered focus. I smiled and wrapped my arms around his neck, leaning into the kiss again. Better remember to keep this a secret. Classmate Ethan Chapter 6 half a month later college basketball league finals a few days in advance. Ethan started asking if I'd be there. I didn't answer and asked him instead, do you want me to come of course to witness Ethan's majestic three-pointers? He joked, nah, I just want to drink the water you hand me. That made me remember during the last game when I was a volunteer, Ethan had asked me for water. I reached up, trailing a finger up his chest, and hooking it lightly. What is my water? Some kind of super potion that helps you win championships? Ethan laughed, pulling me into his arms. Exactly why don't you boost my energy before the game? On the day of the finals, I arrived at the stadium early. As I approached the entrance, I spotted a familiar figure from afar, a bright red athletic hoodie, a cast on his right leg, impossible to miss in the crowd. You think Ethan knows we're showing up today? We didn't tell him on purpose, wanted to surprise him. Yo, imagine him tearing up on the spot when he sees Simon limping. And just to support him, 3 guys walked side by side, laughing loudly enough for anyone nearby to hear. I raised an eyebrow, then walked over to the service desk and borrowed a wheelchair. Senior need some help? Simon looked visibly startled. Vanessa? What are you doing here? I didn't explain. I was here for Ethan Hurd. You were a key player for team. A real shame you can't play in the finals because of your injury. So you came today thinking Simon would be on the court? One of his friends teased Simon. This girl came all this way just for you? Aren't you gonna make it up to her for not playing? Yeah, I moved girls, the loyal are rare these days. I smiled and corrected, it's not that far. I'm actually a student at the school that surprised not just Simon, but his friends too. University A is known for STEM. University B-Line's liberal arts. Both are top-tier schools in the country. Wait, you're not in a vocational college? I raised an eyebrow slightly, then explained my advisor collaborates with multiple universities. I used to help with some of their courses. Maybe you misunderstood? As I spoke, I caught a flicker of guilt in Simon's expression. I'd overheard a conversation outside the hospital that day where he joked with his roommates. Yeah, she's cute, I guess, but she's just from a vocational college. What would we even talk about? Can't bring myself to date her, but rejecting her feels too harsh, so I passed her off to Ethan. Out of sight, out of mind. Besides, I don't even think she'd understand if I turned her down straight. It didn't matter what school I went to. The moment he said those things, Simon was erased from my heart. So what if he had a fancy degree? He had a garbage personality. What confused me was I had told him in a letter after the college entrance exam that I got into this university. How could he still get it wrong? And maybe it was just me, but after hearing which school I attended, Simon's whole vibe changed. He cleared his throat. Well, either way, I'm sorry you came all this way for nothing. How about we add each other as friends call it? My way of making it up to you. Adding him as a friend as compensation. This guy had issues. I was just about to say no when my phone buzzed twice. I picked up Ethan's. Low voice came through. Where are you? I glanced at Simon before replying at the front gate. Okay, I'll be right there. After hanging up, I turned to Simon. My friend's on their way. I'll head off now. As I turned to leave, Simon called out, wait, we haven't added each other yet. Wow, senior, such a short memory. I already added you, even gave me the number yourself, remember? And with that, I didn't look back, I just walked away. A few minutes later, Ethan called again. This time he didn't sound calm anymore. His voice was a little rushed. I'm at the gate, where are you? I got a last-minute call. Sorry, didn't get the chance to tell you I might not make it to your game today. That's fine, he paused. Hey, earlier at the gate, did you see anyone? I frowned. See who? Never mind, it's nothing. He sounded like he was finally able to breathe again, his tone relaxing. I'll text you after the game. I feigned enthusiasm. Sure, I'll be waiting for the good news. Chapter 7. I deliberately avoided letting them run into each other. The show was just getting started. How could I let it end so soon? That evening, as planned, I went to Ethan's place for dinner. I just stepped into the hallway when I heard voices. You disappeared right after the game ended. Figured you ran straight home. The voice was familiar. I froze. Simon. I stopped in the stairwell, staying out of sight. What do you want? Simon cleared his throat. Want to come inside? I brought beer. Ever since you moved out, we haven't chilled, and forever some other time. Not a good day. What's so bad about today? Don't tell me you've got a date or something. Yes, Simon's eyes widened. You actually have a date with who? Who's this girl hot enough to bag the school heartthrob? Ethan didn't answer. Simon didn't press, just laughed it off. All right, then bring her out sometime, so we can meet her. Since you're busy, I won't bother you. Just send me Vanessa's contact info. At that, Ethan's tone shifted, stiff, strained. Who did you say? Vanessa, the girl who used to chase after me, she added. You too, right? Simon looked a bit sheepish now. I ran into her today. She seemed really into me, so I thought maybe I should give her a chance. It was kind of rushed and we didn't exchange numbers, so just forward me her info. Yeah, he pulled out his phone. Oh, and tell me what you two talked about before, so I have some idea. Nothing. Ethan's voice went colder. There was nothing. You actually deleted her. Ethan didn't answer. Simon sighed. All right, figure something out. Then at that point I quietly stepped back down the stairs, wandered around the building a bit before heading up again, giving Simon time to leave. By the time I knocked on Ethan's door again, he was already cooking. I wrapped my arms around him from behind. Congrats, big champ. Ethan forced a small smile. Thanks. Then he glanced at me, hesitating. Did you today? Did I? What? He paused, then shifted. You didn't come to the game today. You want to see the trophy? It's in the study. Help yourself. I'll call you when dinner's ready. And with that he headed back into the kitchen. I pretended not to notice his odd mood and wandered into the study. It was tidy. On the desk sat a box. I opened it. Inside was the championship trophy. As I put it back, my eyes drifted to a shelf with several textbooks and a notebook. Curious, I pulled the notebook out. Inside were pages and pages of neatly written lecture notes. The handwriting was precise, clean, and yet strangely familiar. Suddenly a memory from 2 years ago resurfaced. Senior, is it true that students like you always score a few points higher just because of neat handwriting? My grandpa made me practice calligraphy since I was little, but I suck even after 2 years. My writing's only barely legible. If you were his grandson, he'd probably laugh in his sleep. Wait a second. No, that couldn't be, could it? Just as the thought started forming, Ethan's voice cut in behind me. What are you reading? I hadn't noticed him come in. He was holding 2 plates, his expression a little tight. I quickly closed the notebook and set it back down. Wow, people who write good letters in English really do write beautiful Chinese too. Ignoring the complex look on his face, I leaned in and sniffed the fragrant aroma coming from the plates. Ethan really lives up to the hype that you're but great handwriting, and you cook this level of I don't even want to leave you anymore? His expression finally softened. Then don't stay with me. I smiled, saying nothing, pretending to take it as a joke. Chapter 8. On Monday, after class, I walked out of the teaching building. Suddenly, someone called out to me, Vanessa. I turned around. It was Simon. He was wearing a long trench coat, the cast on his right leg finally gone. His hair was sleek, obviously styled with effort. He walked toward me quickly, immediately attracting curious stares from nearby students. But maybe it was just my tastes evolving, because now Simon looked too deliberately attractive. His bill lacked Ethan's solid, more bean sprout than heartthrob, really hiding my judgment. I smiled politely. "Senior, your leg's all healed cast came off yesterday. First thing I did was come find you. Find me. Yeah, I was hoping to treat you to a meal. Consider it a thank you for the wheelchair. That's kind of you, but bad timing. I'm busy today." Apparently he hadn't expected me to refuse. His expression tightened. "Are you mad at me?" "Excuse me, what?" Simon went on. "After you asked for my number, it got hacked. Seriously, oh God." I almost laughed. I held it in really. But that number clearly, whatever happened wasn't me. He cut me off, putting on his best Oscar-worthy indignation, those damn hackers. "I ended up changing numbers and never got the chance to tell you that person. Did they say anything awful?" I shrugged, not really. Seeing I wasn't mad, he visibly relaxed. "Then let's at each other again when you've got time. We'll grab that meal." I smiled with zero sincerity. Of course, I had no intention of ever going out with Simon, but I wasn't lying when I said I had plans. That night was Ethan's last French lesson for the semester. Right after I added Simon, I took a screenshot of his profile and sent it straight to Crash. Simon said his number was hacked from the start. "So who are you really? We've been talking for so long. What was your goal?" I waited patiently, expecting a quick reply like always, but the person who used to respond in seconds stayed silent. As I neared Ethan's place, I sent another message, just a single question mark. That's when I saw it, a friend request prompt. No way Ethan had deleted me. He must have panicked now. I couldn't wait to see his face when he opened the door. What I didn't expect was to be swept off my feet literally the moment the door opened. Ethan lifted me clean off the ground, startled. I instinctively wrapped my legs around his waist. He held me with one hand, my thighs the other, gripping my chin and kissed me fiercely. His eyes were red at the corners, face flushed with panic and uncertainty. I was stunned at first, then I remembered, according to the script, I wasn't supposed to know that Crash was him. So I relaxed and let myself sink into the kiss, aggressive, hungry, desperate. Eventually his breathing slowed. "Stop chasing him." "Okay." Chasing who? He clearly didn't want to say the name. You know who? That made me laugh. Why bring this up now? Didn't we agree we wouldn't tell him about us? I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "You blocking me right now? Don't tell me you're trying to steal your bros, girl." His body visibly trembled, eyes darkening. "Yeah, so are you gone? Nah, let me steal you?" I gave him a little push. "Enough, we've got a class to finish." He didn't budge. Just as I was trying to slide down from him, he lifted me again, tighter this time. "Doesn't matter. I'm stealing you anyway." After that, Simon started messaging me every now and then, asking when we could have that meal. Funny how things work. Back when I was chasing him, he couldn't be bothered. Now that I'd lost interest, suddenly he was all in. I didn't think it was because he found out which school I was really from. More likely it was his ego. His pride couldn't handle the idea that someone who had once been obsessed with him could just stop caring. After finals, Ethan booked a fancy French restaurant for dinner. He called it a thank you meal, but judging from his recent behavior, I was pretty sure he was planning to confess playing dumb. I teased, "If the student's treating the teacher, obviously won't decline." Then I immediately messaged Simon asking to meet before the semester ended at the same restaurant. Lunar New Year was coming. Time to end this farce once and for all. Ethan had reserved the table early, roses, champagne, romantic as hell. I sat across from him, chin resting on my hand, smiling. "Tell me, have you ever been lied to?" The question caught him off guard. His expression stiffened. "What? Just something I was thinking. If you found out someone lied to you, what would you do?" He tightened his grip on the menu. "Depends. Was it a kind lie or a cruel one?" I gave a dry laugh. "There are kinds of lies now. Maybe the lie came from love. Maybe they didn't mean harm. So if someone lies out of love, it's not really lying. That's so convenient for the liar, sucks for the person being loved." He looked at me seriously. "What about you? If someone lied to you, what would you do?" "Me? I'd give them a taste of their own medicine." Right then a voice rang out beside us, shocked. "Ethan, Vanessa, you two are here together?" I turned with a lazy smile. "Senior, looks like I found your hacker. Aren't you going to thank me?" Chapter 9. The room fell silence at my words. Simon opened his mouth, glanced at Ethan, then forced a laugh. "What are you talking about? I don't get it." "You still don't get it? Wow, high grades, low IQ with that brain. You wouldn't just be unworthy of a vocational schoolgirl who's finished 9 years of compulsory education, would struggle to like you." Simon was momentarily stunned into silence. It was Ethan, quiet until now, who finally spoke. When did you find out? I didn't answer. Does it matter? I didn't mean to lie to you if that wasn't intentional. Then what is, oh wait, let me guess, you're about to say it was a well-intentioned lie, that it came from a place of love. Ethan looked down. That's not what I meant, sorry. Need to elogi, you've got a great body. I don't feel like I lost out. I gave him a smile that didn't reach my eyes, but whatever this is, it ends here. I grabbed my bag and turned to leave, then suddenly remembering something, I turned back to Simon. I used to think you were sharp. Turns out you're just a clueless little pretty boy, your own friend stealing your girl, and you don't even notice. Next time you try lying, maybe run a quick IQ check first. Seriously, use your head. The next time I heard about Ethan was half a month later. News of a fight between him and Simon was all over social media. Everyone was gossiping. A friend brought it up, eyes sparkling. I heard Ethan stole Simon's girlfriend and Simon went ballistic. Though some say Simon insulted the girl Ethan secretly liked. So Ethan clocked him either day drama. I ran into Simon the other day. His leg had healed, but after the fight looked like he was limping again. Ha ha ha. I was genuinely surprised. Ethan never struck me as impulsive. Also kind of a shame I'd rushed to catch my train that day and missed the whole show. My friend sighed dramatically. Who is this goddess that made two campus heartthrobs go full WWE on each other sitting on my bed in pajamas? I spun the tiny mirror on my desk with one finger and said lazily, no clue, must be some kind of angel. She laughed and didn't press. Instead, she changed the subject. Oh right, you saw the notice about the study abroad program in France for juniors? Yeah, your grades are so good, you should be a shoo-in, right? I picked up the mirror, absently. We'll see, the truth was my advisor had already approached me about it before break 2 spots. One was meant for me, but I turned it down. Why? Simple. I couldn't afford it after my dad disappeared with gambling debts. Everything fell on my mom. She'd been a teacher her whole life. Where was she supposed to get the money to pay off his mess? We sold the house. The car still didn't cover everything. Sure, the program covered tuition, but living abroad that wasn't cheap. I didn't want to make things harder on her. I sighed, and somehow my mind went to Ethan. I had to admit what he paid me for tutoring had helped a lot. It didn't fix everything, but it kept me afloat. I opened the drawer under my desk and pulled out a thick stack of letters, dozens of them, all from the year I spent exchanging letters with Simon. The very first one was about math problems. His replies back then were short, mostly answering the mistakes in my questions. Honestly, he was more like a study tutor than a pen pal. His explanations were so clear, better than some of my teachers. As I improved in school, those letters helped a lot. Eventually, our letters shifted from studies to life. I started opening up, even mentioned my family situation now and then. So now I couldn't help wondering, did Ethan have anything to do with these letters? Just then, my mom called from the living room. Vanessa, we have a guest come out and say hi. Panicking, I stuffed the letters back in the drawer. Coming, I opened the door, and the moment I saw the man standing there, my mind blanked. Ethan, Chapter 10. I never expected Ethan to be one of my mom's former students. He had graduated years ago, but had come by to pay a New Year visit. My mom was absolutely glowing with joy when she noticed my stunned expression, walked over and poked me disapprovingly. Why are you just standing there? Go pour your brother some water. I froze again, brother. I looked at Ethan, and sure enough, the corners of his lips twitched upward at the word. He cleared his throat lightly. No, to trouble little sister. I just came by to wish you a happy new year, won't stay long. My mom quickly waved him off. You're already here, no need to rush off. I'll go buy some groceries. Then she gave me a push, you take care of him while I'm gone. And off she went, whirlwind as always, leaving me standing there completely thrown. Once the door closed, it was just me and Ethan in the room. He looked the same as always, still unfairly good looking. I crossed my arms, leaning against the door frame. So you recognized me from the start? Before he could answer, I pressed again, and the one who wrote those letters, that was you too, wasn't it? Ethan went quiet just when I thought he wouldn't respond. He nodded. Yeah, it was me, so it was him. That anger I'd buried boiled back to the surface. You really are a born actor, hiding all this like you're starring in some undercover thriller with all that lying talent. Why aren't you working in anti-fraud? What was the point of tricking me? It's not like that, Ethan exhaled slowly back then. The moment I realized the girl who wrote the letter was you. That's why I pretended to be Simon. I just didn't want you to get hurt. That's when I found out Simon had received my letter and tossed it straight in the trash. I only found out it was you because he was bragging about it. I already knew you were MS Chen's daughter, and I'd heard through the grapevine that things weren't going great at home. You might not believe this, but I really just wanted to do something, anything, to help that girl I'd met once or twice. At the very least, I didn't want your unrequited confession to be the thing that broke you. So he dug the letter out of the trash and took the time to reply to every question I'd written. But some lies. Once they start, it's hard to figure out how to end them. I wanted to tell you the truth after the college entrance exam, but I got scared. I scoffed. Let me guess, you're gonna say it was a well-intentioned lie, right? No, Ethan smiled bitterly, looking down. Maybe you're right. A lie is a lie, no matter how nicely you wrap it. Last few weeks made me realize something being lied to hurts. But you know what, Vanessa? Lying hurts too. By the time my mom came back, Ethan was already gone. She tossed her grocery bag onto the floor. Didn't I tell you to keep him here? He's got legs. What was I supposed to do, tie him to a chair? Besides, maybe he just didn't want to eat in a house like ours. Nonsense. Ethan's not that kind of kid. Oh, sounds like you know him really well. That shut her up. After a pause, she finally said, I've divorced your father. I blinked really, when after Dad ran off, he'd basically vanished. The divorce case dragged on for years. He was the one who made the mess, but it was my mom who had to clean it up alone. The ruling came through recently. Ethan introduced us to a lawyer. He even helped track down your father's whereabouts. When she spoke about Dad, her voice sharpened while we were busy paying off his debts. He was living the good life with some other woman. But it's over now. The courts ordered him to shoulder what's word is the woman's even selling her house for him. Not our problem anymore. It was a lot to take in too fast for my brain to keep up. Then Mom added Ethan's a good kid. I hadn't spoken to him in years. Somehow he found out about everything and reached out, and I knew exactly how he found out from me. I never imagined Ethan had taken my complaints to heart. My mom went on, he's had a rough life too. Parents divorced when he was little. He was raised by a nanny. I still remember how withdrawn he was in middle school. Hardly talked to anyone a couple of times. Must have had another kid. Later didn't care much about Ethan at all. I felt bad for him. So I'd always invite him over for holidays. Maybe you don't remember. You were still really young back then. She was right. I didn't remember my mom's always had students over for dinner. I never paid them much attention. But even so, hearing her say all this, something in me ached that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Eventually I opened my phone and unblocked that long muted contact. Why did you help me? The reply came in quickly. Didn't you say when you were a kid that you wanted to be a diplomat? If I have to give a reason, it's the same one I had when I started writing you back. You're brilliant. Your family situation shouldn't be the chain that holds you back from your dreams. I stared at his words without replying. My head was a mess. I didn't block him again, but I didn't reach out either. After the new semester began, I saw Ethan a few times on campus. He would stand far away near the building where I had class. I pretended not to see him, and he never approached me during that time. I reapplied for the exchange program in France. The process went smoothly at the end of August. Right before I left, I got a message from an unknown number. Safe Travels, Chapter 11. 2 months later, France. I was reading one afternoon when I suddenly received an email. No sender name. No subject line. Curious, I clicked it open. Inside, just a plain math problem. But something about it felt strangely familiar. It hit me. It was the exact math question I'd written about in the very first letter I ever sent to Simon back in senior year of high school all those years ago, and Ethan still remembered. I didn't reply, but I couldn't help wondering what kind of message he was trying to send me with something like that. What I didn't expect was for Ethan to email me again the next day and the next, every single day, a new message, the content wildly random. One day it was a French test. French is impossible. I think my tongue has officially retired. Another day, a photo of a classroom blackboard. The question is tough, but what's worse is the professor's spit landing on my face while explaining it. Another time, a trembling kitten met this tiny baby on street. She's coming home with me. Congrats to her. She's found a good human. Every word, every line. He opened up his world to me again, this time without hiding. And maybe for the first time I began to really get to know who Ethan was. Vivid, unfiltered, unafraid. I read every email he sent, but I never responded. I was curious how long he could keep this little one-man show going, but I couldn't deny it. Checking my inbox became a part of my daily routine. June, my courses abroad were nearing the end back in China. The seniors had just finished their thesis defenses. Ethan had mentioned in one of his emails that they were going to have a graduation party that night. But that day, for the first time in 2 months, I didn't get an email from him. I told myself it was fine, that he was probably just drunk, or maybe he was finally tired of sending emails into the void. I tried to pretend I didn't care, but I couldn't stop refreshing my inbox over and over. I couldn't lie to myself. Ethan had quietly taken up space in my heart. Just before midnight, my phone buzzed twice. He'd sent an email. After all, I opened it, just 2 short lines. I'm looking up at the sky, wondering if the moon in Paris is full tonight. I hesitated, then slowly clicked the reply button. I'm lying in bed wondering how big a certain someone's packs are. Almost instantly, my phone buzzed again. 2 words: go to the window. Something clicked. I jumped out of bed barefoot and yanked the curtain aside. Downstairs, a figure in a black coat stood under the streetlight, hands in his pockets, looking up at me. We stared at each other in silence, and in the gentle wind of Paris, I felt as if it were him whispering in my ear. The moon is full and I am thinking of you.